The old house stood on a hill overlooking the town, its darkened windows like vacant eyes staring out at the world. I'd always been drawn to it, a morbid curiosity pulling me towards its decaying grandeur. We learned something about this house's past that chilled me to the bone. A history steeped in unexplained disappearances and whispered tales of shadow people. What would you do if you were there, knowing what I know now? That night, I decided to explore. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying wood. A cold, musty odor clung to the very air I breathed, a tangible presence that prickled my skin. The wind howled a mournful song through the broken panes of glass, a sound that seemed to seep into my very bones. Each creak and groan of the ancient structure felt like a whispered warning, a prelude to something far more sinister. Do these sounds seem familiar? Perhaps you've heard them in your own dreams. In the quiet moments before sleep, I found myself in the grand hall, its once ornate ceiling now crumbling, revealing the inky blackness of the night sky. Dust motes danced in the slivers of moonlight that pierced the darkness, creating an unsettling ballet of light and shadow. A distant, echoing whisper seemed to drift from the shadows, a sound too indistinct to decipher, yet undeniably present. It sent shivers down my spine, a primal fear that defied logic. As I ventured deeper, the temperature plummeted. A sudden cold draft, like an icy hand, passed through the wall, raising goosebumps on my arms. The darkness pressed in, a suffocating blanket that muffled my senses. My heart pounded in my chest, a frantic drumbeat against the oppressive silence. I felt utterly alone, completely vulnerable in the vast, echoing emptiness of the house. Then it started. A subtle shift in the periphery of my vision. A flicker of movement in the darkness, too quick to be certain, yet undeniable. My breath caught in my throat. Was it just my imagination, playing tricks on me in the oppressive darkness? I told myself it was, but a growing sense of dread tightened its icy grip around my heart. The flickering lights intensified. The faintest whisper became a murmuring chorus, voices that seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. Objects seemed to shift, ever so slightly, as if moved by an unseen hand. Each creak of the floorboards under my feet sounded louder, more menacing, in the oppressive silence. What was happening? I found myself in a small, dusty room. The air was thick with the smell of decay and mildew, a scent that clung to the back of my throat, making it hard to breathe. As I gazed into the darkness, I saw them. Shadowy figures, indistinct shapes that seemed to writhe and shift in the gloom. They were tall, impossibly tall, their forms barely discernible against the darkness, yet their presence was palpable, overwhelming. Their movements were fluid, almost impossible, like smoke given form. They seemed to glide rather than walk, their movements silent, yet somehow disturbingly heavy. My mind struggled to comprehend what I was seeing, to reconcile the impossible with the reality before me. My body felt paralyzed, rooted to the spot, my breath trapped in my lungs. This was it. Sleep paralysis. They didn't seem hostile, not in the traditional sense. They weren't attacking me, but their very presence exuded an aura of dread, a chilling sense of otherness that was deeply unsettling. Their forms pulsed and shifted, their outlines blurring and reforming, making it impossible to truly focus on any one of them. It was as if they were made of the darkness itself, born from the shadows and existing only within them. The feeling of paralysis intensified. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, a frantic rhythm against the oppressive silence of the room. Sweat beaded on my forehead, clinging to my skin like a second layer. My muscles felt heavy, leaden, refusing to obey my commands. I was trapped, utterly helpless, at the mercy of these shadowy beings. The pressure in the room increased, the darkness seeming to close in around me, suffocating me. I tried to scream, but no sound escaped my lips. My mind raced, desperate to find a way out, a way to break free from this terrifying nightmare. This was more than just sleep paralysis. This was a waking nightmare, a descent into the abyss of the unknown. Time seemed to stretch and distort, each moment an eternity. The figures continued their silent dance, their forms shifting and swirling, mocking my desperate attempts to escape. The feeling of dread intensified, a cold wave washing over me, leaving me shivering and trembling despite the oppressive heat. Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The pressure lifted. The shadowy figures faded, dissolving back into the darkness from which they came. The paralysis released its grip, leaving me weak and trembling, but free. I stumbled back, my legs unsteady, my heart still pounding in my chest. I fled the house, running as if my life depended on it. The darkness seemed to chase me, clinging to my heels, whispering promises of return. I didn't look back, didn't dare to look back, until I was safely away, far from the oppressive silence and the chilling presence of the shadow people. Even now, months later, the memory remains vivid, a constant reminder of that night, of the chilling encounter in the old house. I still think about them sometimes, those shadowy figures, their silent dance in the darkness. And I wonder, what would you do if you were there? What would you do if you encountered the shadow people? The question lingers, a chilling echo in the silence of my own thoughts. The silence that sometimes, in the quiet moments before sleep, still seems to whisper their name.